place. So begin by naming something so many of us do. And without even realizing it, we're doing it because we're compassionate folks. We're emotionally connected to the people who are around us that we want to support. And if it's through our job, we want to do a good job. And we know that doing that good job means having empathy and compassion for the individuals that we're working with. So just know that we carry emotional weight that doesn't actually belong to us sometimes. And this may look like taking responsibility for someone else's emotions or their reaction. And sometimes we'll do that even before the person has had a reaction, even before we've even talked with them. We're already putting a name on the feeling that they may end up sharing with us. So we go through this feeling guilty for resting or saying no. And we'll feel guilty about doing that, saying no to something when we know that we really need to say no because we don't have space or room for anything else in our life. But we'll say yes, and then we end up experiencing something that isn't what we were hoping for. Or we begin absorbing tension from others at work or at home. Or we start over functioning in our relationships or constantly managing things that are really outside of our control. This emotional overload, what it does is that it builds slowly over and over again. And before we know it, we're exhausted, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. But here's the shift: this module invites you to notice, name, and begin to release what you were never meant to hold in the first place. So, to do that, we'll be using a simple but powerful tool called the Circle of Control. And it's based on three different areas: your circle of control, which is the thing you can directly do something about; your circle of influence, which is the areas where you can offer support or impact, but not totally control things; and then your circle of concern, are things that affect you emotionally but are on the outside of your control. So let's pause with an example. Okay. Let's say that you have a colleague at work, and that colleague is constantly negative. And if you've been around an individual that may bring that type of a personality, which is negative, it can be pretty draining. And you can't control how they act. The fact that you can't control how they act, that's your circle of concern. You might be able to suggest a way to handle communication or offer boundaries to them. That's your circle of influence. And then what you can control is how much energy you give to that situation and how you choose to respond when it happens again. That's our circle of control. This visual module helps you to sort out what belongs to you and what doesn't. And here's why this matters. When we stay in the circle of concern for too long, we end up burning out and possibly become very frustrated with those that are around us or frustrated with our job. When we return to our circle of control, we feel lighter, clearer, more empowered. And that's what we're looking to do. This module is called Letting Go of What's Not Yours, but it's not about avoidance or ignoring the world's problems. It's about choosing what you focus your energy on. You're not pretending everything's fine. You're learning how to respond instead of react, how to protect your peace, and how to move with clarity. This is the beginning of your shift. Not a huge leap, but it's small, it's intentional, and it's intentional, and it's an intentional movement back toward yourself.